My name is Ryan Russell Nahal. I'm 29 years old. I come from San Diego. I was born and raised there. I've used for like about maybe 3 years, 3.5 years. So it was on and off. So the first time I tried crystal meth was in my mom's house, about around age 22. And I remember smoking it and feeling this kind of rush and actually tingles in my brain. I remember my hair was standing up on my brain, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I kind of like it." Not the best time I've ever actually being introduced to it because I had low doses. I didn't have too much money at the time, and I was always smoking meth and then suffering the down longer than being up. So I went through a phase of just feeling down the whole time, and it wasn't. I kept doing it even though it hurt. It's kind of like this inner pain that you feel. It's a withdrawal pain and very uncomfortable. Can't really um, scatterbrain because I've been awake for like days on end, and I can't gather my thoughts well. And I was almost felt physical pain because I needed one more hit. And when I didn't get that hit, I would just try to like do anything I can to not feel it, as far as like watching movies or curling up into a ball in my room and just wishing that it would pass. And it kind of never did. Um, but after, several hours, maybe even like half a day, it would kind of ease off. But yeah, I don't know if this is a term, but I was more skittish, very paranoid. I was always looking out my window. No one was there. I was always paranoid about my family finding out. And I always listened to things. I would hear people walking in the house, and I would know exactly where they are in the house by just them turning on the faucet or walking down the steps. I was just never really present in and engaged in normal things. I would not be able to eat like for days straight, and then after sleeping it off, have to like overeat, having sores in my mouth. I remember burning because I didn't know how to use it properly in the beginning, and I burned, my inner mouth many times. I actually went to the dentist one time, and I was on crystal, and I was going to the same dentist for a while, and I remember I was like, I have to stop smoking before going to the dentist because it's just I don't know why I was thinking that. I just thought about it. And anyway, I couldn't, right? I couldn't stop. So I remember sitting in the dentist while she was cleaning my teeth, and my tongue just kept moving and moving and moving and moving and moving. And I had an idea she knew I was high because like I've been going there for several years. And this one time, like my tongue would just like I really tried to stop it from moving, but the crystal just it gets you antsy, and I can't stop moving. I remember certain my hands or my feet, my toes would move like hours on end, if not the whole day. And the next day, I remember it being sore. I would fixate on things. I would either get everything done and clean everything, like ADD almost, or I would just leave my place completely catastrophe. Like it was just a catastrophe. Like I would just not clean up anything. Forget to eat, forget to hydrate, be dehydrated, forget to brush my teeth. It was a lot of extreme things. And then I also, it intensified my video game addiction. I compulsively played video games. It just went almost hand in hand. Since my codependency was so strong in me, it actually made me give up smoking meth. I remember the second time I got back into it, and I was working. All I did was bartend, and I started out busking, but I was bartending and serving at a restaurant. I met a girl, very impulsive, but after 2 weeks, we moved into with each other, and we thought we were in love or in lust or whatever it was, and ended up turning to be my longest relationship. But what happened in the beginning was we both had our demons, and we kind of just were vulnerable and told each other what it was. And I ended up actually quitting crystal meth for her. I quit it for about 3 years. After we broke up, a year later, I met someone um, and ended up doing it again compulsively or uncontrollably. I met a girl, and she came down with my friend who was my partner in crime, and we immediately became friends. And that was the first time I smoked meth again after being off of it for 4 years straight. Except it was better. there, and it was plentiful. There was so much of it, and she was a drug dealer, and I was selling crystal meth and using it a lot. Yeah, it got out of control when I started. I was just working again, and I was smoking. It's about maybe 6 months into smoking it again, and I had a job. I was bartending, and just bought a BMW in the beginning of the year. Crashed it like within the first week. I got it because I was on crystal and stayed up for like 5 days, and I was driving and just woke up and I hit a center divider or cement wall, and didn't kill myself thankfully, but definitely did a number on my ride. Fixed that up, continued to smoke meth, lost my job eventually, and had no income. So what I did was actually I went to Hawaii. And this is kind of off top. Well, not off topic. I had to quit because I had to go to my best friend's wedding in Hawaii. And after going there and having a great time, seeing him after like 3 or 4 years of not seeing him and him moving on with his life, I had a talk with him, and he told me about how he made an adult decision and almost like a gamble to go out to Hawaii to see if he can pursue his career that he went to school for. And in my addict mind, I thought I need to make a drastic move in my life. Everyone's moving forward. I'm staying in reverse. Everyone's getting married, having kids, having careers. And here I am bartending and using meth and not going anywhere, actually. And I just really compared myself to all my friends and all their accomplishments. And I just was stuck in reverse and had no self-confidence, and just everything just weighing me down. So what I did when I got back to San Diego after Hawaii was I sold my BMW, and I bought actually pounds of weed, but and ounces of meth to be able to sell it, and thinking that I can do this and start a life for myself. It was actually ended up being the most terrible idea ever. I had to disconnect from my family for the first time. I was on the streets. A lot of bad memories of sleeping behind pirate boxes in Oceanside and looking up at the sky, thinking like this is what it's come to, and truly feeling alone and broken. And the only thing I had was my pipe and a lot of drugs, and just traveling around San Diego, selling this drug that ultimately brought me to my knees. I was on the streets of Oceanside for about a month and a half, tenting with meth heads and drug addicts, people stealing my clothes, my suitcases, my things. So I had a bad experience with that. I was still selling meth. I finally felt so paranoid one night that I called my dad, or actually went to my dad's house because I thought the cops were on me. And I was walking around at the bad hours of the night, around 3 or 4 in the morning, just totally high, and had ounces of meth and a scale on me, and I just felt like I was going to go to jail if I didn't find a place to sleep that night. So I went over to my dad's and I asked him if I could sleep in his garage, and he told me no. He said, I'm going to call your mom. She came over immediately, picked me up after a month and a half of not, of being on the streets, and she told me, if you want back in the house, you have to take a drug test because my niece is around there. She was like 3 years old at the time, and you have to seek treatment. And I told her, yeah. I went to this place called UPAC in San Diego. It's an intensive outpatient. I was there for 2 weeks and was able to get a scholarship to go to LA to come to an inpatient treatment. And that started my journey to recovery. Today, I can have tears of joy of how, I don't know, just how happy and fulfilling my life is today. I just never in my wildest dreams would I ever feel like this again. I haven't felt like this since I was innocent, since I was like 14, before I started using drugs and alcohol. Now I feel like I'm getting all of it back. I can actually visualize like my brain, I don't know, getting stronger, being smarter, and I'm an avid, I love to work out. I love anything physical. I can feel like I'm training for the LA Marathon, which is in about like 40 days, and I like feel oxygen coming into my blood cells. I meditate. Meditate is a huge tool. I've learned so many tools in this place, and I'm able to, have those thoughts, those negative thoughts, how which has been a big part of me my whole life. These voices telling me to do the wrong things, and now I have the tools to quiet down those voices and actually take the right action to make the right moves. Because eventually, it just you end up just always doing the right thing. Hopefully, that's kind of where I've been at. I've been taking advantage of recovery and fully committing to what the program has to offer me.